Hello everyone, this is Mike. Welcome to my channel, Mike the Tech Savvy. In this video, I'll be unboxing a very special device. And the device in question is the Moto Z, which was the first Motorola flagship from the Lenovo era. And at the same time, it's the slimmest device Motorola has ever created. And indeed, one of the slimmest Android devices ever to be manufactured. I will be unboxing this device and I'll be taking a first look. This device is brand new. It is only unsealed because I wanted to check out the contents and make sure that everything is still here. Let's start off this unboxing. We have a white box with the Motorola logo and the name of the device. This is the first Motorola device to feature the Lenovo brand name here. We also see a very interesting and quite confusing at first Moto Mods compatible writing here. On the side, well, some information, nothing really special. On the other side, nothing. On the top side, the same. And on the bottom, we can clearly identify that the device has 32 gigabytes of internal memory. We can see the model number, the color, which in this case is white and gold. And we can also notice that the device is dual SIM, which is quite interesting. This phone was released in 2016 and its main competitor was the Samsung Galaxy S7. Of course, I'll be talking about this in more detail, but I only mentioned it to give you a quick overview on the situation back then. From a design perspective, the Moto Z was definitely a more impressive device. And I will start the unboxing right now. So let's open the box. You can already see the device, it's here head on. And it's quite impressive and unusual at the same time. I'll put it aside for now. We have this, well, pretty interesting carton thingy. We have a Moto Z manuals inside and a readme manual, which I never read, of course. Here we have a Moto Z cover, which was included in the box. Here we have a pretty interesting transparent bumper, turbo charger, whatever that means, because it's only 15 watts, but it's quite all right for 2016. I mean, just imagine it's 5 years ago. We do have the earbuds, which are pretty nice. They're white and they have the Motorola logo here. And an interesting detail to note is that they have the 3.5mm jack. Another thing which is provided in the box is this USB Type-C DAC and basically an adapter from USB Type-C to headphone jack, which is quite interesting. That was provided. And last but not least, we have this SIM ejector tool. That's about it with the box. I forgot to show you the back of the box. We have a short summary of the specs here. The CPU, Snapdragon 820, which was the top of the line CPU 5 years ago. 4 GB of RAM and 32 GB of internal storage. A Quad HD display, and it's also an AMOLED panel, which is all the more impressive. 5.5 inches and the Moto Mods compatibility, and a quick teaser that Moto Mods can basically transform the device. And here you have some of the Moto Mods that were available at launch. So we do have the style shell, which is very similar to what I have here, and this style shell could have been available in a number of textures and colors and finishes and etc. A power pack, which basically had a battery inside, JBL sound boost, which had an external speaker, and a stand, this orange one, and the Moto InstaShare projector, which was able to project an image or video or the display of the device onto a wall and basically turn the mobile phone into a projector, which is quite interesting for 2021 as well, if you ask me. 4G LTE, Android, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Nothing special so far other than these very interesting Moto Mods. So yeah, let's check out the device. Let's put everything aside and check out the device itself. This is only a first look. I will try to fully review this device. From a design perspective, we have a glass front, Gorilla Glass 4. On the back we have aluminum, and the frame is aluminum as well. The whole 5.1 millimeters. Again, very impressive. So on the left side we don't have any buttons. It's completely void of any buttons. On the right side we do have the volume keys and the power button, which is a bit different, as you can see right here. It has an interesting finish, so you can differentiate it from the two volume keys. So on the front we do have the fingerprint sensor here on the bottom with a pretty nice finish. It's of course gold and white, just like the color scheme of the device. We have some two proximity sensors and two microphones here for some Moto enhancements. Front camera and proximity sensor, earpiece, and very interestingly, a front facing flash. The finish is very nice, as you can see, and it's definitely impressive at the first sight. On the bottom we do have a USB Type-C port, which was very impressive, taking into account that the Galaxy S7 only had a micro USB port. S8 was the first Galaxy flagship to feature a USB Type-C. And on the top, SIM card tray and microphone and the antenna here. So yeah, pretty good. Here we have a camera module. Yes, a single camera module, because this is how the devices were made back then, not with 20 useless cameras on the back, but one, and well, good one, at least in theory. This wasn't the best round, but still. 13 megapixels, f1.8 with laser autofocus and optical image stabilization, dual LED flash, the Motorola logo, very nice here. And on the bottom we do have some metal contacts here, which look quite peculiar and which are basically the foundation for the Moto mods. And now let's check out these two accessories that were provided in the box. This is a style shell, which has a very nice textile finish to it. It's very nice to the touch, and it definitely can provide the phone with a different tactile feeling. It just pops here magnetically. It doesn't fall off, of course. In fact, you have to struggle a bit to remove it, but it's very easily to mount it. Interchangeable with very much ease, as you can see. And at this point the camera module is flush with the back, so there is no camera bump anymore. This is something that current phones don't offer, and 99% of them have a camera bump, which basically make the device really unstable when on a table or on a flat surface. And if you'd like to see the bumper in action as well, I can show it to you right now. It's really interesting that they provided this free of charge basically. So this is the bumper. It has some cutouts for the buttons here, on the top for the microphone, and on the bottom for the USB Type-C port. But it's very nice, and it definitely protects the device. I like it. Let's start up the device and check it out. But first let's take off all these things, because I really love how the device feels and how thin and, well, dare I say, sharp it is, as opposed to the phones today, which are a bit more rounded. Let's power it on. Moto. So this is the startup logo back then. They didn't really advertise the devices anymore as Motorola, but as Moto, and of course the Lenovo branding was there as well. I will skip this setup wizard. And now the device has booted up for the first time. We do have a pretty typical, well, standard Google Android experience. at the first sight at least. If you go into the apps, you will see that it's not as de-bloated as you might expect, but it's definitely not on the bloat level of Samsung. So you do have Chrome as the default browser. You do have some Google apps such as Play Movies, Play Music, and Photos. Yeah, I guess it's somehow to be expected. You have Android 6, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Android 6.0.1. Marshmallow. Really interesting. I haven't seen a Marshmallow device for a long time. And you do have the Flappy Marshmallow game as well, which is interesting. Okay. It is quite responsive. The display is very sharp, given that it has the 1440p resolution. I won't be removing this protective foil, so you cannot really see the sharpness, but it's out there with the best. I can assure you of this. You had a pretty decent hardware, a top level Snapdragon 820 CPU, 4GB of RAM. Indeed, the internal memory wasn't that impressive at only 32GB, but you did have a micro SD card slot, as you could see right here on this protective foil. You did have a fingerprint sensor on the front, laser, autofocus, and OIS, turbo power, which had 15 watts as I showed you earlier, and the most impressive thing, and the thing which was a top feature back then, the Moto mods, and you saw what choices there were at launch. Let's check out the camera interface for a second. You could choose the way that you want to take photos, location tags, quick capture to switch between the cameras. You could scan QR codes. Just take into account that this is Android 6, so it's a lot of iterations before what we have right now, and I can assure you that some of the devices from nowadays don't have this type of enhancements. Photo size, 13 megapixels of course in a 4:3 aspect ratio, and video size 4K. Again, there are lots of devices from 2020 and 2021 which cannot film in 4K. Again, quite impressive, and Full HD 60. You did not have any ultra slow motion or things like that. You could see here slow motion size, HD, and 120 FPS. Again, really impressive that you had a front-facing flash. I haven't seen these for quite a long time. I'm not really sure how effective it is because, of course, the LED flash is only effective when you're close to the subject, but given that this is used for selfies, how long of a head can you have? So yeah, I guess it's much more useful than the flash that the phones nowadays have, where they light up the display and they blind you momentarily. I guess it's quite impressive. I will try to fully review this device and to give you my honest opinion on it. Why not maybe try to install some custom ROMs as well? But for this, the bootloader needs to be unlocked. It's not really something that complicated, but it's something that you have to take into account. This was an unboxing video and a first look at this gorgeous, in my opinion, Moto Z device, the slimmest phone ever created by Motorola. Indeed, after its acquisition by Lenovo, in my opinion, the slimmest mainstream phone that was ever created, because there were a couple of attempts, and not only attempts, but a couple of devices which were like 2mm or 3mm slimmer than this one, but they didn't have the hardware that this one has. They were only mid-range or not even that devices. One last thing that I forgot to mention, and which indeed it's this phone's Achilles heel, or I think it is the battery. Just imagine 5mm thickness. Where would you put a high capacity battery? And the answer is, well, you don't really have a choice. The device isn't that large. Its footprint isn't that large, and its thickness doesn't help either. So the battery is only 2600 milliamp hours and it's non-removable. And one last aspect, and I'll be closing this video, is the fact that you don't have a headphone jack. But you can give Lenovo or Motorola the benefit of the doubt here. At least they added a USB Type-C to 3.5mm jack adapter. So yeah, at least that. This was an unboxing video and a first look at the Moto Z, the first Motorola flagship after its acquisition by Lenovo, and one of the slimmest devices ever created at only 5.1 millimeters. If you like this video, please do press the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more similar videos in the future, also press the subscribe button, which will be displayed right here in the bottom left part. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. In the video description, you'll also find the links to my social media and my Patreon accounts. Thank you so much once again. This was Mike the Tech Savvy. Stay safe, guys. Until next time. Bye.